Yo, what is up, guys? It is Great Zage, and this is What If Asta Was Madara's Reincarnation, Part 9, and it's a repost. Sorry, oh my god. Sorry, I just woke up and, I decided to redo this part because, well, I, I was so tired when I posted this that literally when I did not check the video completely, and I found out there was a little bit of extra audio when I was recording that sort of got into the video, and it made it sound like I had two voices playing at the same time, and it was just terrible. So I'm sorry about that. So here's the repost. I hope you guys do enjoy it. Yeah, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button, and yeah, remember, y'all awesome, y'all dope, and y'all are important. But either way, I hope you guys do enjoy, and yeah.
She gripping that dick like she was a lost star. She party at night like she was a rock star. She singing my song like Bella-dee-da. She calling me daddy, but not a father. Lil' Billy been thirsty like big as some water. Could give you the world with the wave of a wand. We Philly, bitch, Cosmo and Wanda.
Alright, guys, so let's get started with this what if. As we start off with, well, Asta and the group of the Black Bulls actually heading to the kingdom at amazing speeds, actually making it much more faster than they did in canon, due to the fact that Asta already sent out his, well, summonings to take care of the rest of the villagers. Now, during this time, Asta would just be there eating some of Charmy's food, all of them just chilling, relaxing, as, Magma would actually ask Asta, hey, Asta, what's up with your eyes? He would say. At this, Asta will go ahead and stop eating for a while and open his eyes, revealing the Renegon, as he then just says, oh, well, these are the Renegon. I guess you could say. At this, he goes ahead and smiles, and this smile is sort of unhinged. It scares him a little bit. He then says, this is a power of a god, he would say. At this, Magma and everyone else was so confused with what he meant, but he would just say, oh, it's much better as a demonstration than actually going ahead and describing it. So they go ahead and shrug for now. However, they really do wonder, what does it mean by giving the power of a god? Oh boy, they have no idea what they're getting into. Either way, let me continue on. So the Black Bulls eventually, after running around for a while, would have headed to the kingdom, of course, and they would have arrived there as they see a bunch of things. But right before they arrive there, we're going to do a flashback as we see, well, Finral, Noel, and Nozel, all of them pretty much there. And pretty much they were on their way to pretty much take care of their business. Now at this, some sort of elf was attacking the royal family, the Silvas. So, of course, you obviously know it, that Nozel and Noel will go there to save them. As for Finral, he would just say, oh, bye, good luck. He then pulls out a kunai in an instant, as he then flashes away in a green light. Now, in the other side of the kingdom, we see Longoris, or should I say, the elf reincarnated Longoris, who was about to attack the king, yes, not the wizard king, just the king, the guy who shouldn't even be a king, because what's the point of it? Let's continue on. So, yes, the king, and also, well, Longoris' family, as Longoris goes ahead and attacks them with spells, telling them to get out of his way. However, just as soon as one of the spells were about to hit his, mother and father, in an instant, the spell will be deflected. What? He would say, as suddenly a voice behind him then speaks. Oh, look at my little brother going ahead and causing trouble, he would say. At this, everyone will be in shock as Longoris turns around only to not see anyone. What? I'm right in front of you, the voice would say. At this, he goes ahead and turns in front, only to realize the voice is gone. Stop hiding, you coward, said Longoris, as he was actually losing his cool right now. As whoever was doing this was fast or was invisible, he didn't know. But one of them gotta be, considering the fact that it's like low key, scary. Fine, I'll make my appearance known. As just as that, in a blinkering green light, we see, Finral just appear right in front of all of them, in a crouched position and a kunai in both of his hands. Yo, Longoris, how's it going? Finral would say with a smirk. At this, everyone will be in shock, especially the king and, especially Finral's family, considering the fact they have not seen him in a while. And suddenly, Finral's mom wouldn't speak up. Finral, honey. However, Finral would just go ahead and look at her and pretty much just, his eyes would grow cold as he then says, "Don't speak to me so friendly. Alright? Don't you dare start calling me your son." At this, he goes ahead and turns back, actually causing the mom to actually be in shock. Considering the fact, like, low-key, Finral's family, I'm not gonna lie, like, they sort of deserved it. Because, like, seriously, though, you're telling me that y'all could not, like, care for both sons? Like, yes, not one of them was not as talented as the other, but that doesn't matter. It's still your son, so, you know what? Royal family, I guess. Now, at this, Finral began walking over there, and, the father of Finral continued saying, like, "Oh, you don't stand a chance," like, yada, yada, yada. However, Finral does not care. As he then says, his magic is way above, but then again, you really can't expect much from a one-trick pony. He would say this with a creepy smile on his face that's actually scaring the reincarnated elf. "Peasant, how dare you human trash actually try to come to me," he would say as he shoots a spatial spell at him. However, in an instant, Finral would then vanish. He appears right in front of him. Alright, and what type of stupid, ugly, and might I say, talentless, ignoble like you tell me what to do? Actually, wait, I forgot. You're not really a noble here. No. You're someone else. Just a pathetic loser who uses my loser brother's body. Now, Longus, actually getting angry at the insult, will shoot multiple projectile spatial magic spells directly towards Finral. However, Finral easily avoids all of them in a flash. Until finally, Finral then appears right behind Longus, who didn't even see it coming, as he then goes ahead and just says, "You know what? It doesn't matter how much you train. You will never amount to it." At this, he goes ahead and literally slams down the kunai on Longus's back, knocking the man out unconscious, but also bleeding a bit on the back. "There, I took care of the problem. If you want him to survive, go ahead and take him to a medic or something." Pathetic. At this, he'll go ahead and flash away, leaving his family there, not even opening a portal for them to leave, considering the fact, like, why was he going to stick his life out for these people? These are the same people that bullied him. These are the same people that pretty much neglected the boy. These are the same people that made him feel like crap. Even worse than crap, actually. So why is he going to save them? Well, it's because, shit, he's a royal knight. Plus, imagine what the kingdom's going to react when they find out a royal family was killed. So with that, Finral opened a couple more portals and then left, causing them to actually be happy and begin cheering, as the king goes ahead and shoves them out of the way, saying that he's more important and is the first one to leave the place. Now, we go ahead and now cut back to the Black Bulls as they have finally arrived at the kingdom, and pretty much everything is much better than it was in canon, considering the fact that, one, Julius is alive, so that means, like, literally, the chaos is literally, like, stopping around. Most of the elves are just frozen in time. They can't really do much, and pretty much, he's pretty much doing everything. Also, Yami is also taking care of the problem as well, as he was able to fight off Charlotte enough for them to actually, go ahead and actually be able to be safe for now. And pretty much everyone else was doing something. Now, also, when he looks at the site, he would just go ahead and smile, as looking at the chaos and destruction reminds him when he went ahead and fought the entire elemental nations. Like, dang, bro, you did not have to do them so dirty like that. But still, let me continue on. So after a while, Asta goes ahead and just was like, "Alright, this is where I'm gonna leave. See ya." And pretty much all the Black Bulls wonder what he meant until he just vanishes and appears right in front of, well, the other Black Bull member, Ghosh. Now at this, everyone was still wondering where Asta went. However, Asta was just right in front of Ghosh and says, So what's up, you idiots, he would say. At this, Ghosh would go ahead and just say, "Don't go ahead and start making insults, you pathetic human." As he goes ahead and uses Reflect Reframe, ready to hit Asta. However, in an instant, Asta would just vanish as he would go ahead and appear right in front of him. "You're nothing," he would say, as he goes ahead and kicks him in the stomach, causing him to actually be sent flying. Now, the weird thing was that he was next to his sister, so his sister was just there, and she then screams her brother's name, only to be right in front of Asta once more. "I don't know who you are controlling this little, controlling Marie, but I'm just gonna let you know, you severely pissed me off." As he goes ahead and pulls out the Goombai sword, tapping Marie on the forehead, causing the girl to actually be released from the spell, and also getting knocked out unconscious. Good, that's one problem down. Time for the other, he would say. Then he goes ahead and turns to the other man, who's right now just getting up, as he then says, "Who the heck do you think you are, you human?" Now, at this, Asta wouldn't smile. "I'm Madara Uchiha. But I guess for now, you could just call me Asta." At this, the elf will be confused what he meant. However, just as he was about to, do something, it was already too late, as in an instant, Asta would have vanished away from him, and with a anti-magic slash, completely erased the spells of the reincarnation. "Shh, that's enough. You're pathetic," he would say. Just as the elf went ahead and fell unconscious, Ghost will once again reappear. Now, pretty much, Asta just saved everyone, really, because the man's like low-key OP, but still, I mean, he could do much more. Now, all this was going on. The other captain, the dream one, she would do the same thing that she does in canon, kidnapping everyone and pretty much doing the same thing that she does. However, the weird thing was that this time, however, the Black Bulls don't actually have any problem against her. Considering the fact that they're actually way stronger than they were in canon, they are able to think of a plan and actually escape her magic while also defeating her. So, yeah. Now, after that was over, the Black Bulls go ahead and actually think of what should they do now, considering the fact they have like low-key no idea what to do. However, Asta was already way ahead of them and thinking that now was the time where things were going to go, well, terribly wrong for them. As right up in the sky, we see the moving castle, of course, as they were just moving in. And suddenly, a portal would then open from the castle. Now, at seeing the Shadow Palace, now having a portal, this would cause all of them to be in shock. However, Asta would just smile. He senses the powerful presence in there. And not even batting an eyelash, Asta just jumps in it like it was nothing, completely ignoring everyone that was there. At this, everyone else is just shocked that Asta would just do this. But then again, the Black Bulls who know Asta are just like, this is just a regular thing for Asta. Like, he always pulls shit like this. So they really did not give two fucks about it. However, it still shocked them. So, after that whole fiasco was over, Asta was now inside the Shadow Palace, as he was right now looking for, he was right now like getting teleported to somewhere else. However, he already consents that the aura here, or just with the energy that was in this place, was just messed up. Like, it was all over the place. It was oozing with it. However, just as he was landing there, he then senses a presence that's above him, only to see Mimosa, falling from the sky as he catches her in his arms in a sort of bride-like way. Now, at Asta catching her, she would go ahead and just blush automatically, considering the fact, Mimosa, crush on Asta, yeah, the whole thing. As Asta would then ask, "So, do you have any idea what this place is?" he would ask. At this, Mimosa would just shake her head as she goes ahead and looks around, as she says that the magic here is distorted. Now, at this, Asta will wonder what she meant. However, he will go ahead and be cut from his thoughts as he goes ahead and senses the three elves that were trying to sneak up on him. "Get out of here, you lowly human," said the elves. However, Asta will be like, "I have no time for you. Get out of my way," he would say, as he goes ahead and unleashes genjutsu on them, causing them to actually just be there, stiff as hell. Great, that'll take care of them for a while. Come on, let's go. At this, he'll go ahead and grab Mimosa's arm, not really caring about the blush that she has right now, which, yeah, because of course not. Why should he? So, they go ahead and actually go off to the area, of course, and while they're actually going there, Asta actually goes ahead and tries to concentrate on the aura that he was sensing earlier, a darker one. Not like the elves, but there was another aura here that was way darker and definitely way stronger than any of them. As he continues walking, the aura would just continue getting stronger and stronger, and he just wonders who the heck is producing this aura, and who could have that sinister amount of aura just oozing out of them. It made no sense. However, the only thing that Asta can guarantee was that it was going to be exciting. Just thinking about it. A battle. A true battle, actually. Or at least a battle so he could at least get here. Considering the fact, like I said, Asta is like pretty OP, so really much he could totally deal with these people. So after that, Asta will go ahead and blitz through everything until eventually he comes into a passageway, only to reveal it to be Frill, the captain of the Aquadeer, who's currently making this sort of ginormous well, I don't really know what he was doing. He was just making this weird type of monster art. Now, I'd seen this unique art style and pretty much all these monsters. Asta would just chuckle as he then says, "Wow, I have to admit, you're pretty interesting," he would say. This will catch, Frill's attention, as when he looks at Asta, he will actually go ahead and immediately know who it is. This was the same human that goes ahead and has been foiling their plans so far, and he would not allow it. How dare this commoner stand in his way? How dare this human even think about standing in their way and their vengeance? So with this, Frill instantly blitzed through painting, summoning multiple amount of monsters, as Asta then tells Mimosa to get back. At this, he'll go ahead and charge up some anti-magic. However, this is when he stops. Actually, nah, we don't even have to do anything. He'll say this with a smile. At this, he'll go ahead and immediately activate his ability, which being the Renegon, as he goes ahead and says the word Limbo. Now at this, Frill and Mimosa heard it, but they had no idea what it meant until suddenly, all of a sudden, in an instant, multiple of the things were just being destroyed. And Asta was just not doing anything. He was just sitting there, arms crossed, as he watches them destruction. What? How? What are you doing, human? Frill would ask, because he was actually confused. What the heck was going on here? There's no way this human should even stand up to him. So how was all this happening? At this, Asta would just go ahead and chuckle, as he then says, "Me, I'm not doing anything. You're the one who's summoning all these creatures for them to destroy." At this, Finral and Mimosa would then pick up on the them part. "What do you mean, them?" Finral would say. However, in an instant, he would then be punched in the face, as his brush was then snapped, of course, as he had no idea what was going on, but he began to get beaten up all over the place. "What's going on here? This wasn't supposed to happen," he would say as he continues getting beaten up. At this, Asta, with a smile on his face, would then say, "Wake up to reality." Now, at this, Frill would go ahead and wake up again, as he would then realize that all his paintings were destroyed and everything, and he didn't even draw anything. This was his first time actually even doing anything. "How?" he would say. At this, Asta would just chuckle. "Didn't I say wake up to reality, didn't I?" "What the hell are you?" he would shout. At this, Asta would just chuckle. "Your inevitable end," he would say. Now, at this point, Frill did not know what was going on until once again he wakes up again, only to realize that each time he woke up, the scenery would change, and this is when no one actually realized it, but Asta put him under a genjutsu. Just by looking him in the eye. Just one single glance was all it took. And by looking him in the eye, he was actually able to go ahead and stop Frill from even drawing or painting anymore. "What did you do to him?" asked Mimosa. As one minute Frill was screaming at Asta, the next minute he was just frozen stiff, and his eyes seemed to be somewhere else at the moment, not really with them. It seems like he was just lost. At this, Asta would just say, "Don't worry, he'll be alright for now. Come on, let's go," Asta would say, as he goes ahead and moves off. As he could already tell who the presence was, as we go ahead and do a flashback. Now, outside of the kingdom, everyone else was fighting, trying to stop the elves and everything, as the Wizard King will also be amongst them, considering the fact that, the Wizard King needs to take care of the kingdom, and because he was the only one, he is the Wizard King, he needs to protect this place. So he let the Magic Knight captains to go in there. However, this is when they would actually sense a presence approaching. What is that? Just a large amount of mana. As suddenly, in an instant, Yuna would go ahead and enter the Shadow Palace, shocking everyone until actually Vanessa would then speak up. "Oh, it's Asta's friend, right? The weird kid. I mean, the noble one, the one that looks nothing like a commoner," she would say. At this, Finral would nod as he goes ahead and slashes away at more of them. "I'm ashamed. I wish I could have gone in there and fight." Yeah, whatever, you and your bloodthirsty drive, whatever. As she goes ahead and continues punching and beating up the elves, as Finral just teleports all over the place, pretty much acting like a sort of Minato. So, we now cut back to, everyone else, as we now see, Yuno, who would have actually been already at the entrance of where everything was, where all the action was already. As he goes ahead and, cuts through all the elves, well, not cut through them, but, pretty much defeat them all in an instant, as he's already knowing that Asta is already hot on his trail. See you soon, Asta, he would say with a smile. Now back to Asta. He was going ahead and just, contemplating on what should he do next. Considering the fact that right now, he was just, defeating the elves and trying to get to where Yuno was. Considering the fact that over there is where all the action is, and, Asta's, a man of action itself. So, of course, he wants to be there first. But as soon as he does that, however, he would then go ahead and sense that presence again, the dark one. Just what the heck is going on up there, he would say. As he really tries to think, what the heck is that aura? It's sinister, it's darker, and it's definitely not. It's the opposite of the elves. While the elves' aura seems like a little bit more, more calming and everything, even though like they're slaughtering people, this one is more sinister and more seem like one of a devil. Libe would say, actually speaking out. At this, Asta would actually look at him. What? Another devil is here, for sure, said Libe. At this, Asta goes ahead and raises an eyebrow until suddenly he then cracks a sadistic, bloodthirsty grin. Finally, a call of battle I've been waiting for, he would say with a smile. At this, Mimosa, who was just in the background, would just think, Asta sometimes is scary, but for some reason, it's sort of pleasing. As for some reason, she actually likes when Asta is like this, but she really does not know. So with that, Asta goes ahead and begins to literally speed blitz everything, as he actually carries Mimosa in one arm this time, considering the fact he doesn't want her to slow him down. So with that, they go ahead and continue on their journey, of course, until eventually they make it all the way to the top. Now, with the other Magic Knights, they were all taking care of the rest of the problems, that being the reincarnated elves, and Raya, Fauna, as they had both came back to life. Still unsure how, but hey, still worked. As they were right now facing off against the same people, dang. So, with all of that being said, let me continue on. So, as Asta eventually arrives at the place, he will then arrive to see Yuno, and pretty much Yuno and everyone just there, as he then says, well, isn't this interesting, he would say, instantly pulling out his Goombai sword, prepare for battle. Now at this, Yuno would nod, saying, you're late, Asta, with Asta just shrugging him off, saying, I'm never late to something like this, he would say. At this, Yuno would nod at this, considering the fact that this was just an Asta thing to do, considering the fact that Asta was just like, someone who really didn't back down from something like this. As they were right now facing against, Patri, Raya, and another elf, which also would just nail his eyes at it. This is the one. It definitely is that one, he would say. Already knowing who this so-called reincarnated elf is. At this, or should I say Patri would then laugh. You're too late, human, he would say, as he goes ahead and actually give this random guy the stone, saying that this was all they needed to be completed. However, the man would actually go ahead and say, so all we have to do is just defeat this, destroy this, and we're all, all we need is the final piece to this, and everything will finally come into fruition. At this, Lit would nod, or should I say Patri? Well, I'm just gonna say Patri. However, Raya would actually know his eyes. Hey, you know how I can tell lies, right? Then let me ask you this. Why are you lying? Now, at hearing this, a so-called reincarnated elf goes ahead and cracks a disturbing smile. As in an instant, Raya would then be hit in the chest, as he would then realize that there was a hole through his stomach. Just, what evil is this? He would say as he goes ahead and hit the ground. Now at this, Asta would have narrowed his eyes as, Mimosa would scream as she goes ahead and rushes up to Raya to heal him. Now, at this, suddenly Lit will be in shock again and says, why did you do that? He would say, however, in an instant, he would then feel himself, going through pain as he then looks up only to see that the elf right in front of him was no longer, an elf. As he would then change, he would become skinnier, darker, as his eyes would then turn red. As suddenly, two arms would also envelop, revealing its true form. As this was a devil. So this is what you mean, Liebe, he would say with a smile, said Asta. As he goes ahead, as he, seeing this pressure, this power that this thing is just resonating, the thing that's just resonating off this devil, makes him smile. You're gonna be quite interesting, he would say. Now this is where the whole Patri incident happens, where Patri goes ahead and asks, why the heck are you doing this and everything? However, Zagreus goes ahead and explains the whole truth of the situation, causing him to lose control and becoming a dark elf. Now at this, Zagreus would then laugh as he then turns to Asta and Yuno, as both of them were just looking at this thing. Alright, well then, you know what? I have a use for you after all, he would say with a smile. At this, Zagreus would be confused at what Asta meant. However, in an instant, Asta would then vanish and appear right in front of him and says, I'm gonna use you as my puppet, you hear me? At this, Zagreus would then be punched in the face, getting sent flying, as he then thinks, this human, he's fast. As he then uses his word magic to summon swords, as swords begin to fall from the sky. However, in an instant, Asta, not even bothering with them, just dodges them, as they were close to hitting him. Come on, you can do better than that, said Asta. As this would cause, Zagreus to just look at this human in shock. Is this even human? He would say. As he goes ahead and once again gets... Now, Asta, he's just beating the crap out of Zagreus, alright? Just fist to fist, not even trying. And the reason for this, because Asta is literally planning on breaking this man. Like this, he wants this man to sort of be, I guess you could say, one of his pawns, a servant. It's hard to say, but let's just say he really, really wants to fight this guy, and he wants to use him too. So at this time, Zagreus was like summoning a bunch of swords, using his word magic, trying to win, but it was just not avails. He then says, "Just what type of devil do you have? What type of magic do you have? I don't sense any from you." And this is where Asta would just laugh. Who needs magic when you have my power? He would say. At this, revealing his Renegon, Zagreus would say, what eyes are those? Who the heck are you? He would say. As in an instant, Asta would then say, I'll show you. At this, suddenly, Zagreus' eyes would then widen, and as right now, right in front of him, he would then see the full form of Madara Uchiha, as he was standing over, as he was right now looming over Zagreus, standing on top of the so-called Ten Tails. What? He would say. At this, Madara would say, you're in my domain now. He did not really understand it. Just what is this? A different dimension? Is this an illusion? He couldn't tell, but he can tell one thing. For the first time ever, he felt fear. Actual fear. But devils don't fear anything. So how is this happening to me? Thought Zagreus. As Asta would go ahead, and as Asta would then suddenly appear behind him, stabbing him with a sword. You will not find out, would you? This Zagreus would then go ahead and once again open his eyes, only to reveal he was now chained up. What? As suddenly multiple Astas with katanas in their hands would then say, welcome to never-ending suffering, he would say, as he goes ahead and begins to stab Zagreus. Now, on the outside, all you hear, Zagreus now had like a foul expression as he was getting stabbed over and over again in this genjutsu that Asta created. At this, Yuno was so confused of his so-called, rival and brother, would then ask, Asta, what did you do? At this, Asta goes ahead and shrugs him off, saying, don't worry about him. Just sit there and watch, he says with a bloodthirsty smile. As suddenly a horrifying scream from a devil would then erupt from the area, causing everyone to actually be shaken from it. The dark elf will go ahead and try to attack Asta. However, Asta would just, go ahead and instantly summon a Shao clone to deal with it, not really bothering with Patri. As the reincarnated devil continues screaming in agony, just feeling pain, as he goes ahead and snaps out of the reality itself, he goes ahead and just looks at Asta. Who are you? Who are you? At this, Asta would say, wow, and all that time there, you didn't even understand who I was. At this, suddenly a dark chakra rod would then begin to shoot out from Asta's hand, from the palm of Asta's hand, as he goes ahead and looks directly at Zagrid. I am Madara Uchiha. As in an instant, he would then be stabbed in the neck by the chakra rod, as his eyes begin to morph. What's going on? He would say. As suddenly, in an instant, he doesn't move. He can't even think. As suddenly his eyes would then morph to the Renegon. What did you do? As as he was now actually fearful, considering the fact that his brother's eyes already changed. He could already tell that his brother had a power-up. But now that this Ding had the same eyes as Asta, it terrified him. If something had Asta's power, he didn't even know if he could beat it. Just don't worry, Asta would say. As Asta now had Zagrid under his control. As he then says, this is the reality of the situation. You're nothing but a pawn compared to me. This is the power of a god, said Asta as he looks at Zagrid. Now, this Zagrid couldn't respond at all, as he was now under the complete control, as he had he was sort of in Asta's control now. At this, Asta didn't turn to Pachi. He was still a dark elf, as he was now just getting beaten the fuck up with that shadow clone, because he can't even scratch it. As Asta wouldn't sense another presence that was up in the air, as he then already tells that it was late, as he then says, well, now that this was taken care of, let me go take care of that up ahead, he would say, as he then vanishes. Now at this, Asta would just appear in front of Licht, who at first, as seeing Asta, he goes ahead and tries to attack him, but Asta, using the power of the Renegon, of course, instantly summons a Limbo to stop the attack, and also stopping Licht, holding him down. As Licht tries to move, he can't because of an invisible force, as he then looks at Asta, who still had his Renegon. It's about time you awakened. Snap out of it, he would say. As by using the Renegon's ability, he would instantly, in an instant, he would snap Licht out of his, just his complete idiocy. He literally woke him up, practically. Now, at Licht waking up, he would then be so confused and says, what did you do? He would say. At this, Asta goes ahead and says, I finally awaken you. You're over here like a child attacking others when you have no idea who they were. But it seems like now you finally got control, I presume, he would say, with a menacing tone a little bit at the end. At this, Licht would just nod, as he would then sense the presence of the devils. He then says, I have to take care of this now. As he goes ahead and dashes off downstairs, down the labyrinth. However, to his surprise, the devil was not moving at all. It was just there, just waiting. It seemed like it was waiting for a command or something. As in an instant, Asta, who was just, who also arrived down there late, actually standing on the wall, wouldn't say, don't fret, he's under my control now, he would say. At this, Lick would just look at him and says, what? As he then chuckles, this is the power of the Renegon. Even allows me to control people, he would say, as he looks at the completely controlled devil. At this, Lick couldn't believe it. The thing that caused all its suffering, the thing that ruined his life, the thing that slayed the elves, was taken down pretty easily by this human who didn't have a drop of magic. Just who are you? Said Licht. At this, Asta just chuckles and says, I am the ghost of the Uchiha, Madara. Now, at this, Licht had no idea what heck even was Uchiha, but if they were this powerful, he could already compare it to he thinks that maybe like a certain tribe like the elves. However, it seems like as if they don't need magic. However, in an instant, just as they were going ahead and going through this, suddenly a beam of light would then crash into the portal, as this would then reveal the very first Wizard King, along with Nero, who had just shown up for the battle. Now, the reason why for pretty much all of it really was because the reason why Nero was just considering the fact that she was gone for a while now, considering that she was going to the statue of the Wizard King, so pretty much as she went ahead and retrieved the Wizard King, and only to be shocked as the devil was right there in front of them, but it was not moving. Licht, what happened? He would say. At this, Liquid goes ahead and points to Asta, who was just sitting there on the walls. He was just looking at him, just looking at the Wizard King. He then says, what do you know? I guess even in this world, they have something like Edo Tensei here. Ouch. My throat hurts. Sorry. Now, at this, they would just be like low-key, the Wizard King looked like an Edo Tensei, as he actually remembers Hashirama, and he has to admit, the way that it's just this version of the Edo Tensei, or this version of Edo Tensei in this magic world, apparently, it didn't really do the same thing like over there in the other one, but still, it's impressive. As Madara would then jump down, or Asta would just jump down, so he then says, hello, I presume you're the first Wizard King, he would say. At this, the Wizard King would just nod, as Asta will go ahead and look at Zagrid, who goes ahead and actually appears in front of all of them, as Licht and the first Wizard King Lumiere were both prepared to attack, as well as Nero. However, Asta would just, ease their concerns. Don't worry. As long as that chakra rod is in his back, he will always remain under my control. And besides, even if he was out of it, I could just kill him, he would say. Now, this would just completely shock them, considering the fact that in an instant, this guy with no magic whatsoever had just stopped the very thing that caused all this pain and suffering. However, they still had to deal with a dark elf Protry who was, in the corner just ready to attack them. As Asta would just, vanish, he then says, excuse me, as he goes ahead and actually snaps Protry out of it. He does that whole sequence and everything. And pretty much, instead of giving that inspirational speech like Asta did, he literally just went ahead and like, snap out of it before I kill you. Which instantly caused Protry to go ahead and get out of there. Now, at this, everyone was just in like complete shock and awe of Asta's power. As eventually the other members would just arrive, that being like Noelle, Nozel, Fuegoleon, Marileona, as they would have seen the first Wizard King and just be starstruck. It's the first Wizard King, and everyone would say, oh my god, and yeah. However, that's when they would then sense the malice, that darkening aura, as they go ahead and turn to the devil, as they instantly prepare to attack it. But once again, Asta calms them down. He then says, like I said to the others, this is now under my control, he would say. As the devil will actually go ahead and bow, literally bow to Asta. As Asta will have a smile on his face. Now, this just brings everyone just into shock, as this is when Lumiere would then chuckle. Wow, I guess people in this world, I guess my descendants really are amazing, he would say. At this, Licht would then nod. He then turns to Protry, who was now crying on the ground, as Protry was over here apologizing for even tainting the name of the elves and pretty much just ruining this whole thing. It was his fault that all this even happened. However, Licht would just bring Protry into a hug, telling him that it was alright and that he didn't know any better. So eventually, after the sad sack of a fest, Asta would find out that, that was Nero. He then says, I was expecting something was different out of you. At this, Nero would nod. However, she would then begin to tear up in her eyes, as she would go ahead and actually give Asta a hug, much to the dismay of Noelle and Mimosa. She would actually thank Asta for his help, his assistance, which Asta goes ahead and just pats her on the head, which actually causes Nero to go ahead and actually enjoy the head petting. So after all that was over, they eventually would have gotten out of the Shadow Palace, considering the fact they had just taken care of all the threats, and Zagrid was still under their control. Now at this, Asta would actually ask the Wizard King and Licht if they still wanted to destroy Zagrid, which they were actually thinking, should they? However, this is when the Wizard King would actually turn to Asta and then say, no. I believe as long as it's under your control, everything will be fine. Besides, I could obviously tell if you wanted to, you could probably defeat this thing if you wanted. At this, Asta would just look at him and then laugh. Oh my god, your nonchalantness and your attitude, it reminds me of my dear old friend Hashirama, he would say. At this, Lumiere, not really knowing who this Hashirama was, would just laugh as well, as he goes ahead and nods, as he then says, you really are an interesting descendant. As this is where they would then see the rest of the reincarnated elves, as Licht would still have the demon sword, the one that was able to stop the reincarnation magic, as Pachu go ahead and switch with William, allowing them to go ahead and cast their magic spell. So eventually, after a while, everyone was just, pretty much, eventually the giant tree would then loom over them, as he would then release all the, devils. Now, at this, not all the devils, all the elves, as this would cause all of them to leave, which, with the Charlotte elf just complimenting Yami, with Yami telling her, like, hey, it was cool working with you too. And eventually, all of them were set free. As this was when we get the tearful goodbye of the Wizard King, as the first Wizard King as well, although he was a bit disappointed that his return really meant, like, nothing. However, once again, also didn't ask the question. Do you 100% sure you don't want to go ahead and get this revenge? The suffering, all of it, was caused by this one being. At this, Lumiere just looked at the devil and just shake his head, as he says that now that his time was over and that he'll leave, that now that he was under Asta's control, it's up to him for his punishment. Now at this, Asta will look at the Wizard King and he would just smile, as he once again thinks of Hashirama, as he really thinks that this man is literally just a carbon copy of a copy of Hashirama. As he goes ahead and nods, as this is where Lumiere will go ahead and vanish. At this, Nero will go ahead and cry, and pretty much that whole sob fest would happen, as eventually the kingdom was safe. Now we go ahead and do a time skip. So things have finally settled down. The kingdom was now reworking themselves. Or should I say, Asta was freaking, fixing the kingdom by himself nearly, as he had summoned multiple shadow clones and also used Limbo to go ahead and take care of it. Another thing, Asta was now extremely famous, and he was literally now known as nearly the guardian of the Clover Kingdom. Like, literally, this man was known throughout the entire land. Due to the fact that Asta's animal summons were all over the place, everyone now recognized anyone who has those eyes, they would instantly know that it was Asta, considering the fact that the Renegon is, permanently on him. So, literally, everyone now knows that Asta was the one who controlled them, and Asta was the one. So this causes all of them to actually highly respect Asta and sees him as the hero of the Clover Kingdom, along with the rest of the Magic Knights, but they still believe that Asta did most of the work. I mean, hey, it was not their animals. Asta was the one who summoned all the animals to help the other people of the other villages. Now at this, Asta would actually be walking. Asta and actually Noel and Mimosa they would both be right in front of the Wizard King, as he will go ahead and actually says that there's been predictions that are happening. Now at this, Asta would actually ask, this is where he would ask what visions that he sees. And there's only actually been, 2. And the only thing is, one is that, he didn't want to say the first one, considering the fact that at first the visions were very clear, but this time it seemed as if the visions could change anytime soon. And the weird thing was, at the center of it all was the purple Renegon. As Julius will begin to explain about the fruitions. However, when it came to the last one, now the fruitions are the same thing as they are in canon. However, the last one, he would say, the last one is still unsure of, considering the fact that as he goes ahead and turns to Asta, he then says, Asta, I believe you may have an ability to even change fate itself. At this, Asta would just look at Julius, then smile. Things are getting more interesting. As this is where I'm gonna go ahead and end this what if this part for this what if. What do y'all think, huh? Tell me. Do y'all think, what is the powers of the Renegon? What secret is Asta's hiding from the kingdom? What would happen? Who will be guilty of the damage that was caused? What do the people think of the devils? Well, we're all just gonna have to find out in the next part. Hope you guys do enjoy this what if. And either way, it is Great Zage, and I'm out. Peace.